Weekend here, and it is Glenville on top of Alder 26-3 in our final game of the weekend. Before we get into statistics and our halftime guest, Tim Streed, let's pause 10 seconds for station to identify themselves on the OHSAA radio network. Back here at halftime, and joining us right now is Tim Streed. And Tim, so glad with the OHSAA for you to join us here. I think your title's changed a couple of the times. Sports Information Director, right, here at the OHSAA. So it's good to see you. I feel like you and I wrap every football weekend on a Saturday night, so it's always good to see you.
I try to do that intentionally, just to thank everyone for the whole weekend. And this is kind of the last game, as you mentioned, Darren, the last game of the weekend. I can sit back and watch a little bit of it. Yeah. I'm not preparing for the next game. But Glenville's pulling away here, of course. And Ed Domsites is an excellent football coach. I'm going to give their trophy after this game. And they've had a great season, but they ran into a Glenville here team that would probably challenge for the D2 or 1 title.
Yeah, how about this? We've had 2 teams three-peat. We're going to potentially have a team two-peat back-to-back this year. But you talked about all that goes in and everything. You said you had a chance to sit back finally. I caught the word finally there. That means there's a lot going on this weekend. Talk about what that is and just the culmination of everything that's coming together.
Yeah, and really it starts last Friday night.
Yeah. When
you have the state semifinals. I was answering that question earlier today. When does all this start? Well, we prepare a lot of it, obviously, the weeks and months in advance. When you look at the state championship program, there's so many pages that we had done weeks and months ago. Okay. But last Friday night, you have the state semifinals, and then you know who the 14 teams are, and you know who the matchups are. And that's when it really kicks into high gear with statistics and roster finalizations or changes, or changes to your starting lineup. We're missing this or that. So that's when we really try to collect all that. The illustration I try to give is, at college level, college football teams have SIDs. Yeah. You do college games too, so you know how valuable they are. I did that for 9 years. That was my previous life. So I know how important that is. Well, most high schools don't have that. So I am that for these 14 teams. Other than St. Edward, they have an SID, so I love that. But, so I'm that person. I collect all that information and distribute it to all of you. And then and Spectrum and a lot of other broadcasters that are here this weekend. So, but I enjoy doing it. That's what I enjoy doing.
Takes you back to your roots a little bit.
It does. So I enjoy doing that, and it makes the event so much better for you all, for the other broadcasters, for Spectrum, because they know they can get that from me, and that way 14 coaches are not all being contacted by everybody. So it's one of the things I enjoy doing, but it's exhausting. Someone asked if I was going to be exhausted, and shut her down late tonight. I'm exhausted now, but it's what we do. We run state championships, and we love doing it. So. It's all worth it. It's so worth it. It's hard to even describe it. It's an honor and a privilege to be a part of it, and can't wait till next year already.
Do you have to reintroduce yourself to your wife when you get home?
I do. She's out in Eastern Ohio this weekend. She's in a wedding, and I think she's coming. I don't think it's her wedding. I haven't been told otherwise. So I'll get home tomorrow afternoon and get to see my kids and see her, and hopefully have a quiet, rested December. Still busy with a lot of various projects, but looking forward to that.
One of those projects is basketball. We'll get to in a second, but I want to talk about Canton, another 3-year deal, and be able to host here. And what a job they do. It's almost seamless in some ways, from where we stay and from the hospitality that we get from everyone here, from a broadcaster standpoint. But I know you guys recognize it from an organization standpoint as well.
Yeah, and some people will still say, boy, would other people be interested in hosting? Of course, people ask about Ohio State. And, the thing I say is you got to have 2 things. You got to have the facilities to host it. That comes with the people as well. There's a lot of people that it takes to run an event of this magnitude. But then number 2, you have to be in a place that wants you.
Sure.
And as you just mentioned, you get the feel all over Canton and in the stadium and the Hall of Fame Village behind us and around Canton that they really want it here. And it just gives an energy and you have volunteers when you need them. You have van drivers for our board, people working the elevators, people working in credential pickup. They do it right. And so to follow up on your item, though, is that, yeah, we are this weekend ends a current 3-year contract, and then we'll start a new 3-year contract next year. And there's actually 2 option years after that by mutual agreement, so It could end up being a 5-year agreement. So, but I just can't think of a better place to have the football state championships. I really can't. And I say all the time, we're so fortunate, lucky, blessed, whatever word you want to say, that the Pro Football Hall of Fame is in Ohio, and it's in Canton, Ohio, and look where we get to play our state finals. So it's a win-win situation.
Aaron Cassidy with Tim Street here at halftime, and Tim, sounds weird, but we're going to move into basketball. Basketball started, and a new system this year has been talked about a lot, and that is the new ranking system that's going to how the playoffs. It used to be voted on and seeding and all that. This is going to take a little different approach, and it's going to be how teams are seeded. It's going to be a little different. Talk about that.
Yeah, so you're right. Basketball season is underway.
It's crazy.
Here we are, and as we've talked about before, every team makes the sectional tournament in basketball, but your seed in the sectional basketball tournament for a long time has been determined by a vote of the coaches, and new this year, your seed will be determined by your RPI. And people are familiar with RPI, ratings percentage index. It's used at a lot of different levels, mainly the college level. But Max Preps is one of our partner tech organizations, and it'll be similar. Ironically, it'll be similar to the football computer ratings. So everyone's familiar with the football computer ratings. That determines your seed in the regional tournament. But in basketball, it'd been the vote of the coaches, and so there's issues that come with that sometimes. So the Basketball Coaches Association made a proposal that we look at using a technology service for that RPI, and we tested it last year in the Northwest District. They liked it. It's a different partner than we used last year, but it's the same philosophy. And so we're going to do it statewide this year. It's Max Preps. In fact, I just was looking at it. I think it's January 13th will be, which is crazy that I already have that on my calendar.
That's a really random.
January 13th is, I think, our first weekly basketball RPI press release. So it'll be here before you know
That'll
it.
be really neat. Another basketball question, a couple more questions for Tim Street here. A little buzz going around that, there's some talk out there about potentially expanding the basketball divisions, or number of teams, right? They get in from 4 to, you go to 6 divisions, you go to 5, you go all the way up to 7. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I can confirm that there are serious talks happening right now at the OHSAA with our board of directors and with our staff to expand the number of divisions that we have, not only in basketball, but in several sports. That conversation started last spring. A lot of it was informal, but I can tell you that our board of directors right now, and they're elected by our member schools, they want to expand.
Yeah.
And Doug Ute, our executive director, wants to expand too. So we are on that road. What it will look like, not quite sure yet. Will it be 6 divisions in basketball? Will it be 7? Will Division I be smaller like we do in football?
Sure.
Those are the conversations we're having now. Thursday, here in Canton, right behind us in the Hall of Fame, all of our district athletic board members, all 67 of them, got together for a big meeting, spent 3 hours talking about it. We're starting to get way far down that road. So one of the things I need to do, and Doug, you and I just were talking about a little bit ago, is when do we send out that first press release that we are having serious discussions about expanding. So keep an eye out. I don't know what exactly it's going to look like, but it won't be for this school year.
Yeah, sure.
It'd be in the future. I'm not sure if it's next year or not, or the year after that.
And just to make it clear, everyone gets in for the basketball. It would be more expanding of the number of divisions that would. Final question for you. I know you like the opportunity to thank our affiliates that are so important to us. Skyview delivers it to our affiliates, the radio broadcast. I know you like a chance to talk to them.
Absolutely, and that'll be a great way to end it. But thank you to Skyview back in Phoenix.
Well, different time zone.
Yeah, running the show back there for our satellite distribution. We are really fortunate to have them as a partner, and they like high school sports too. So we're happy that they want to be a part of this. But statewide, not only statewide, shoot, we have an affiliate in Indiana. We have one in West Virginia that are on board with us for several games this weekend. really appreciate that interest and that desire to bring state championship football to your local communities, and just thank you.
Well, Tim, I know I can speak on behalf of all the broadcasters. You make our job easy. Thank you so much, and thanks for jumping on halftime.
Thanks, Aaron. I appreciate it.
That is Tim Streed with the OHSAA. We're going to come back and take a look at statistics after this message. Let's pause for these messages from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. You're listening to the OHSAA Radio Network, brought to you by Chocolate Milk.